And good morning, Man Hour Nation. What's the Monday night NFL games we had last night? Boy, were those exciting. It is Tuesday. That means it is Overreaction Tuesday. It is time to overreact to the Buffalo Bills. The NFC playoffs. Yeah, playoffs. Justin Fields going somewhere else to be a starting quarterback next year. Mike Tomlin, his first losing season ever as a Pittsburgh Steeler. The Philadelphia Eagles are not going to the playoffs, or Super Bowl, I should say. But first... And now, Mike's thoughts. Guys, the NFL is a very, very confusing sport. It is very confusing. When we realize, when we finally think to, hey, we got this game figured out. We got Miami Dolphins are a great team. The Baltimore Ravens are a great team. The Chiefs are just subpar. We think we haven't figured it out. Bada bing, bada boom. Something else hits the bed. What just happened, right? The simple fact of the matter is that this is why we love the NFL. This is why we love the NFL game, because legitimately, any given Thursday, any given Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever day of the week we're playing on, legitimately any given game, there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that the Miami Dolphins are going to put 70 up points against a very, very not so good Houston Texans team. Sorry, the Tennessee Titans team. We were expecting the Green Bay Packers to run all over the New York Giants. Didn't happen. The NFL, guys, is a very, very great game. Now, when you look at other sports, NBA, on a Tuesday, back-to-back games, a home team's going to win 9 times out of 10. Hell, maybe 10 out of 11. Major League Baseball, Tuesday afternoon, home team wins, right? Sit the starters, right? Football plays 1 day a week. You get the best thing out there that you can each and every time. You get what you can each and every time. This is why the NFL is so great, but yet so confusing as well. Man, NFL this season has been great so far. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Bakashi here with the Man Hour Show of manhourradio.com. Check out the new website, guys. We have put up some forms up there. So if you want to come over to the website, it's still a little bit of tinkering happening on, but probably by the end of the day, we're going to get it live over there. And there's going to be some forms. So head over to manhourradio.com, join the forums, guys, and be able to talk your shit, share some memes. I'm going to be the only moderator over there for the time being, but it is what it is because you guys get a chance to do some really true live, raw, and uncut NFL talk over there. So if you want to talk some shit, come on over to manhourradio.com. Let's say tomorrow I will get the link set up as well. But what a great set of games last night, guys. The Miami Dolphins did lose to the Tennessee Titans, and the Green Bay Packers lost to the New York Football Giants. What is going on? But it is time to overreact to some of those things on Overreaction Tuesday. But first, we got to welcome some people into the chat. We got my man Jason Crawford in the chat. He says, why is the members only chat on YouTube? I don't know, XD Gamer. I fixed it, so everybody should be able to be commenting over there. I think I was running some tests a little while ago. I forgot to revert it back, so that is my fault. Sorry about that, Jason. But I did fix that. We also got John Peoples in the chat says, "Man, those games look terrible." I thought the games were pretty good last night, to be honest. Will Levis looked like the man, the myth, the legend. Tua looked like a quarterback that he is. It's above average, and yeah, it is what it is. But he also says, "Good morning, y'all." Good morning to you as well, John. Good morning to you. But I had to say good morning to a special man. This man brings joy to my life each and every day. This man smiles at me. This man makes me wish I was gay. This man makes me wish that I could grow a goatee and actually not look like a homosexual. This man is Mr. John Hoffman. What's up, Hoffy?
I'd trade my goatee for your beard any day.
Yeah, joke's on you. This is all makeup. So I actually don't even have a beard. It's just all like glued on.
I can't connect here on the cheeks.
So you have the natural white trash look, Mr. Joe Dirt over there. Yeah.
Hey, don't talk about my son that way.
Yeah, I freaking love that movie. Like he has the whole chin chaps and it's like, do you shave that? No, it just doesn't grow. Freaking love it. But Hoffy, man, welcome to the show, man. I'm loving that Irish Adidas looking hoodie there, man. It with some Celtic pride there, some Boston. Sheesh, man, you got to support those Jets all you can, right? Go Jets, go.
Of course, yeah. I mean, Patriots are in last place, so I got to find a new team because the Dolphins ain't cutting it for me anymore.
Yeah, speaking about those Miami Dolphins, guys, the Miami Dolphins did go down last night. They went down in a, I wouldn't even say glory, Hoffy. They went down in a historically bad fashion. Guys, the Miami Dolphins had a 14-point lead. Count it. Not one, but 2 score leads going in 2 minutes left in the game. A little over 2 minutes, like 2 minutes and 50-some seconds left in the game. I saw a stat, and Hoffy and I were talking about it before the show. But basically, guys, nobody has ever lost with the 14-point lead with 2 minutes left in the game. Very, very few people. I think it's only been like one since like 1976 or something crazy like that. But the Miami Dolphins did go down. They were up 2 scores with 3 minutes left in the game, and they ultimately end up losing to the Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. But with that being said, the game was inside the game. Coffee, I got to sneeze, man. Can you take over for a second?
Yep. Ooh. So, I mean, like you said, the game within the game. We talked yesterday about the Miami Dolphins having this division wrapped up. But once Buck comes on, I'll let him talk about it. I said that, watch out. I thought the Bills still had a chance. And now, I said, 40% chance? Now I'm going to say it's like 75% chance. I think the Dolphins are going to find a way to choke this one away.
Yeah, sorry about that. My allergies decided to kick up all of a sudden. Like, I don't understand. It's 20 degrees outside. My heater in my house broke. Hoffy, you know those electric freaking heater things, like those little thermostats? Apparently, it is powered by a watch battery. Did you know that? So
I did not.
You are supposed to change the watch battery every 18 months. Well, it's been exactly 18 months since we got our new heater and AC in our house, and bada bing, bada boom, when it's like 10 degrees outside, our heater decides not to work because of a stupid watch battery. But I digress on that. But going back to the game here. So the game within the game, obviously, guys, the minute the Miami Dolphins lost, losing train of thought here, reel it back in, right? But Tyreek Hill goes down in the first quarter. I think actually it may have been early second, but sometime in the first half. He goes down, and he basically shows that he is the key to the ignition for the Miami Dolphins. He is the X factor. He is the Y factor. He is a Z factor. He is everything for the Miami Dolphins. And when Tyreek Hill goes down with that ankle injury, the Miami Dolphins looked very, very deflated. So, Hafi, I got to ask you this question. I'm going to deflect it to you first while I figure myself out here. Is Tyreek Hill the true MVP of the NFL after watching the game last night?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, even after his injury, when he came back and played sparingly, those few plays that he was in there, and he made some big plays. So yeah, I would say that he is the MVP, and they had really no business being in that game last night, except for the fact that the Tennessee Titans literally tried to hand him the game. The guy muffing the punt return on the 10-yard line, gave them a free score there. Um, but yeah, I think that Tyreek Hill absolutely has solidified himself as not necessarily the front runner for MVP, as far as between him, Dak, Brock Purdy, but he's definitely shown that Tua is not that guy. He is not the MVP. He is not the conductor of that choo-choo train. It is absolutely Tyreek Hill that makes that team go.
Yeah, so when we look at the Tyreek Hill effect for the Miami Dolphins here, I have been trying to justify, Tyreek Hill not being the guy. But obviously, when Tyreek Hill went out of that game, you saw the whole offense kind of be like a balloon. They just kind of started to deflate a little bit. They're like, man, Tyreek Hill is gone. What do we do? But I thought Jalen Waddle was supposed to be the guy. I thought the running back Raheem Mostert was supposed to be the guy. I thought Tua was supposed to be this MVP caliber, greatest quarterback to walk the earth thing, right? But the simple fact of the matter is Tyreek Hill is that ignition for the team. He is what starts him. He is what keeps him going, and he is the X factor for this team. However, it has been shown that when a team relies so much on said player, i.e. Lamar Jackson for the Baltimore Ravens, i.e. Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers, i.e. Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs. If that one player goes down, there has to be the next guy up. This showed you how vulnerable that the Miami Dolphins are moving forward, Hafi. This showed you how beatable the Miami Dolphins are moving forward. Because, let me throw some stats at you here. Previous game, Tua did not get sacked one time. They literally beat down, I forget who they played. 0 sacks, plenty of time in the pocket, living the dream. Last night, after Tyreek Hill goes down, the Tennessee Titans started to play press offense or press defense. Tua was sacked 5 times and had less than 2 seconds to throw the ball. So they were getting in his face, they were hitting him over and over and over again, and they were sacking him over and over and over again. The blueprint to beat the Miami Dolphins have been shown. Put pressure on Tua and press the receivers. Stop worrying about their damn speed. Yes, Tyreek Hill is fast. Yes, Jalen Waddle is fast. Yes, Raheem Mostert is fast. But the simple fact of the matter is that when you don't give Tua time to throw the ball, yes, Tyreek Hill can run a 4.1 40-yard dash and break 25 miles an hour. Awesome. But it still takes about 2 seconds to get open, right? And if you're in his face, in Tua's face, in less than 2 seconds, it is what it is, right? So, with that being said, the blueprint has been laid to beat the Miami Dolphins. Hafi, now, we've been talking about one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC, right? We've been talking about the Ravens. We've been talking about the Dolphins. We've been talking about the Buffalo Bills. After last night, do you see the Miami Dolphins being a dangerous team at all in the playoffs?
No. And if you ask me right now, I don't think that they're going to win the AFC East, which means they're going to be on the road. But they don't play a gritty. They like to get into a shootout, and come playoffs. Playoffs are nitty gritty, hard hitting, nasty games. And I think that regardless, it's looking like it's going to be, AFC North teams that are going to kind of take that wild card spot. Those are all teams that they like to put the helmet on and just smash you in the mouth.
Yep.
And that is what we saw, Tennessee Titans do yesterday. And these playoff teams are going to be able to smash you in the mouth a lot harder than the Titans did. So I would be very worried as a true Miami Dolphin fan.
Yeah. So are you a true Miami Dolphin fan, or are you just a 2023 Miami Dolphin fan?
I'm just a whoever's winning the AFC East fan.
No, yeah, but seriously, guys, the Miami Dolphins have been 100% exposed. They've been 100%. Now, I've been liking your guys' narrative, right? They can only beat teams that are below 500, right? They can't beat winning teams. Well, last night, the Tennessee Titans were a below 500 team, and they just simply... Can you say that they let me ask you this, guys, in the comments below. If I remember correctly, this was the first time the Miami Dolphins have played a Monday night game since Dan Marino was at the helm. So could there have been a little bit of... I've heard it before, and I've been around it, where sometimes players, people's fans exploit so much energy and emotion pregame that they're dog-ass tired when it comes to halftime, right? They're like, man, I just played a full game. No, dude, we still got another 30 minutes left. So I wonder if the what's the word I'm looking for, Hoffy? Maybe like the bright shined, or like the light shined a little too bright pregame. Maybe they had too much festivities. Maybe they, were getting so hyped for a Monday night game. Monday night's coming to Miami Hard Rock Cafe, baby. Let's do it. That they forgot that, hey, we still have to play a football game. And I want to say that happened, but it is not like they come out and shit the bed in the second half. They just didn't play good all game long. So could it possibly, Hoffy, that they just had that bad game where, the Dallas Cowboys had a bad game versus the Arizona Cardinals, right? The 49ers had a bad game versus the Vikings, right? Like, was this the Miami Dolphins' bad game, and maybe we're overreacting to this loss just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that you didn't say per se is, injury and kind of deflating the sails, seeing your star player go down, but like you said, and provided he did come back in that second half, and maybe that's kind of why they got some of those points. But like you said, we can't really chalk it up to, because they played better. They scored more. They played a little bit better in that second half. They had more opportunities. I think we just have to chalk it up to a bad game. I mean,
yeah.
But
go ahead.
No, I don't. I mean, we got to chalk it up to a bad game. They gotta fix some things, but we haven't seen them perform against winning teams this year. So
yeah, we will get to see it here in a few weeks when they do play the Dallas Cowboys. And then they do play the Buffalo Bills again come week 18 as well. So not all hope is lost in Miami. So Arthur Brown and the rest of the Miami Dolphins fan base that is listening today, don't go jumping off of that ledge. Mike Vrabel does coach well against teams that he is supposed to lose against. So John, let's go ahead and jump over here into the comments here, Hoffy. John says just to cover and choke for Vegas. So he thinks the Miami Dolphins were just going to cover for Vegas and get them some money. And then he says, I smell a fix. Come on, John. Come on, man. Jeez, this guy. My man WB Ant is in the chat. He says, yeah, it's crazy how both underdogs won last night. Listen, the Tennessee Titans are not a terrible team. I know I've been on the Tennessee Titans like asses for like a little while because, I told you guys that King Henry about midseason last year, like, hey, he has found that legend. He has found that legend. He has fallen off hard on it. But the Tennessee Titans are a team that is in the spoiler role right now. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they want to spoil it for a team like the Miami Dolphins. They want to spoil it for a team like the Indianapolis Colts when they play them in a few weeks. They want to play the spoiler role. And what is the saying, Javi? It is hard to beat a team that doesn't have a future, right? That is playing like I gotta know the exact wording and terminology or like quote, but basically, like I believe it was Shane Falco from The Replacements saying like we have the best thing on our side is we have no tomorrow. It doesn't matter if we win, lose, or draw. We have no tomorrow. It doesn't matter for us. And that's where the Tennessee Titans are right now. It doesn't matter for them at all. Wayne G is in the chat as well. And he says, tough to give a MVP to a wide receiver. Megatron kept Stafford in the league and never sniffed a MVP. This is very, very, very true. But however, we saw it, Wayne G, last night. When Tyreek Hill went down, you saw everybody in the stadium deflate. You saw the wide receiver, you saw the Miami Dolphins whole offense deflate. You saw the defense deflate. You saw the crowd deflate, and you saw the Tennessee Titans kind of inflate. That tells me that is the MVP. That is the most valuable player on that team. When that player goes down and everybody else is like, man, we are screwed. That tells you he's the MVP, right, Hoffy? That's the definition of the MVP.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's not the exact saying you were looking for, but I'd say, 80% of the success of a football team is determined by the fight and the spirit that they put into their play.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins only put 20% into their game yesterday, and none of that was the fight or the spirit to play.
Very, 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 very true. Speaking of MVP, John thinks CMC is the front runner. I don't think CMC is the front runner because of the production that Brock Purdy is putting out. Right now, I think it's they are going to split votes among themselves, and it's ultimately going to be Dak Prescott in the end. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, we can talk about more of the MVP probably tomorrow during the Power Ranking show. But Arthur Brown's in the chat. Cancel that Amber Alert because my guy is here. He says, we just got exposed last night. Listen, man, I know exactly how you feel. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, we've been exposed the last 6 weeks. It sucks, man. Take that knife and put it in my heart and spit it and man.
Try being a Raiders fan.
Right? Like how? Why do we as grown-ass people literally bank our whole weeks on 53 guys that don't even know we exist, right? Like when the Chiefs lost, City's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm pissed off the Chiefs lost. Damn it! Leave me the fuck alone, right? Why do we do that?" But it is what it is. But the Miami Dolphins did get exposed, and John says outplayed. I agree. I feel Hoffy legitimately that the Miami Dolphins were legitimately overlooking this game. They were looking forward to the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, we can beat a 500 team. We can beat an elite team. Super Bowl preview. We can beat the Buffalo Bills, right? AFC East champs. I feel like this is just an overlooked game. Miami Dolphins fans, Arthur Brown, slow it down, baby. Slow it down. The Miami Dolphins are still them. They're still them.
I mean, failure happens all the time. It happens every day in practice, but it's a matter of, how you react to it. So next week is a new game. They need to come back. They need to, right the ship. They need to make a statement win. And, we've seen that with Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills struggled past couple of weeks. They've kind of fixed their failures and they're looking like one of the hotter teams in the AFC right now. So we'll see how they react to last night's loss.
So this just came to my mind, Hoffy. I believe it was John says, I smell a fix. Well, maybe this was all a part of the plan for the NFL. Maybe the rigged NFL is starting to rear its reary head. Hey, let's have the Chiefs stumble for 6 games in a row, look like complete dog shit, and then let's let the Miami Dolphins lose to the Tennessee Titans. Let's let the Baltimore Ravens lose to the Cleveland Browns next week. You know what this does, Hoffy? Legitimately? Look at this flag right here. It says Chiefs Kingdom, baby. You realize that the Chiefs Kingdom have a chance at a number 1 overall seed now? Their chance went from like 3% to like 20% after the Miami Dolphins loss. The Miami Dolphins still play the Raiders, I think, head-to-head in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, legitimately, the Ravens and the Dolphins have probably one of the hardest schedules moving forward. This opened the door for the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe, to take the first overall seed. Rigged NFL? Here you go. It's starting to rear its very head, Hoffy. What? There it is. Arthur says, I woke up pissed off this morning. You should. You should. I don't know. Jim Powell's in the chat, and he says, at least he's not Arthur Gamer X. Oh,
speaking
man.
of XD Gamer, is Jason Crawford XD Gamer?
It would make sense, wouldn't it? But it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean,
Surprised he showed up this week.
yeah. I mean, he was here yesterday, too. Mike Jeff is in the chat. What's up, Mike? Hope you're having a grand old day. Me and Mike had a healthy conversation in the DMs yesterday. He just like, how do you feel about the Chiefs losing and was a bad call? We had a civilized conversation. It wasn't no William Philibom. Did you see that post, Hoffy?
It's William Philibum.
Philibum. Is that you, Hoffy?
No.
Oh man.
My fake Facebook accounts are long gone. Who was it? What was that guy's name? Joe? Wanted to play you in basketball.
Oh, Joe Tebow, yeah, or Tim Tebow. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
No, he was the last guy I punked.
So Jim says Will Levis is for real. Yes, Will Levis is the man. We saw it in Kentucky. You know what last night showed? It showed that Will Levis is the future in Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill is gone. Almost forgot his name. Who is the other backup quarterback in Tennessee? Malik Willis. He's probably gone. It is time to solidify, put your cards on Will Levis and moving forward. Yeah.
But hey, one guy we haven't talked about
Jeff.
either.
Got it. Yes.
He is still a dog. DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. Talk about it.
I mean, we were kind of, talking about him at the beginning of this year. He is not going to be that difference maker. He is not that guy. He absolutely is, that catch that he made yesterday on the ball that Will Levis just threw up. He might have gotten away with a little arm tug there, but I mean, he made some plays yesterday. I think if we talk about piece from last night's game, you really got to give it to DeAndre Hopkins. I think he single-handedly pretty much won the Titans that game yesterday. Yes, Will Levis, has to make those throws. Will Levis was impressive, but I think really without DeAndre Hopkins, they're not even sniffing an opportunity to be in that game.
Yeah, D-Hop was definitely in Jalen Ramsey's face all night, too. He was getting underneath that skin. And, the one thing that I like about the NFL Sunday Ticket is, I get the opportunity to watch all the camera angles, after the game is over. And there is a camera angle where, you can specifically watch just the wide receivers, specifically just watch the tailbacks, right? And last night, when I got home from work, I caught myself staying up to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, just watching D-Hop versus Jalen Ramsey. It was just I was getting a half chub. I'm not gonna lie. They were in each other's face, just talking and touching each other, and this it was awesome. So I mean, I gotta kind of want to be an advocate for YouTube TV because they don't pay us for anything, right? Obviously, but the NFL Sunday Ticket is a cool thing, a cool. Actually, I lied. It's not NFL Sunday Ticket. It is NFL Plus. So the NFL Plus is where you get all the extra camera angles and stuff like that. But there was another Monday night game, Hoffy, which I just want to put this on the record. I hate 2 Monday night games, damn it. And the whole split screen that they were doing, it was pissing me off so much last night.
I had both games. I mean, it's hard to follow when you even have just the both games on your own TV. Never mind, once they're doing the split screens with the damn game that you're trying. Yeah,
it was irritating. But I hate 2 Monday night games. I don't know why they did it, but it is what it is, right? We got extra football on Monday for the price of one. But the New York Football Giants come back and beat the Green Bay Packers, a Green Bay Packers team that I had in my top 10 power rankings just last week. I thought they were clicking. I thought they were doing good. But a team that is clicking right now are the New York Football Giants, Hoffy. They have now won 3 games in a row. Granted, it's been over the Commanders, the Patriots, and now the Packers. But they're clicking. They are now 5-8 on the season, and they are officially in that wild card hunt in the NFC. We're going to talk about the NFC playoff picture moving forward, but they are in that hunt. They have games versus the Seahawks, Eagles, Rams, and Eagles to end the season. When we look at the New York Football Giants, guys, the Giants are a team that I'm like, what? Like, how are they good? They lost their franchise quarterback in Danny Dimes earlier this season to an Achilles, right, or ACL. He's been out for, I don't know, at least 6 weeks. They had this rookie quarterback, Danny DeVito, right, or Tommy DeVito, Mr. A, right? He is out there lighting it up. So I got to thinking here, Hoffy. We've been thinking about how valuable a backup quarterback is. We talked earlier this offseason how overpaid Danny Dimes is that we thought. Is there a possibility that Danny Dimes loses his starting job to this rookie quarterback that is lighting it up for the New York Football Giants this season, and somehow, some way, Danny Dimes ends up, I don't know, in Minnesota? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, his contract is ridiculous, so I guess we'd have to kind of dive more so into the dead cap, this and that. But yeah, Brian Daboll's game plan is around not turning the ball over and, just kind of managing the game. But you have Barkley in the backfield to hand the ball off. DeVito's been, he's been him. He really has. I mean, 3-game winning streak. And another thing, too, coming into this week, and all you Raiders lovers are going to, you know this guy pretty well, but we might even have Darren Waller coming back into the fold for the Giants, which is only going to improve. So, I mean, look out for the Giants. If DeVito continues to play the way he has been playing, not turning the ball over, and, adding another weapon in Darren Waller, who's gonna help out, and, they're not going to be able to load the box up on Barkley, which, and if they do, then Waller can make them pay. Or, if they, play back coverage to kind of just take away Waller, now you can hand it off to Saquon Barkley. So, yeah, the Giants are getting healthy at the end of the year at the right time. And, like you said, they're in the hunt for a wild card spot. So, again, it's all about getting hot at the right time. Giants are getting hot at the right time. Yeah. If a team like, a 4-seed team in the NFC has to play the Giants at the 7th seed. I mean, we saw it last year when the Giants played against the Minnesota Vikings. They upset them in Minnesota. So the Giants are looking like a team that you don't want to see get into the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, you as a Patriots fan, you know this very, very, very well. If you let the Giants get into the playoffs, they're going to upset you in the Super Bowl when you are 17-0. Too soon?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure. But yeah, guys, but the New York Giants are a team that legitimately has a possibility to make the playoffs. I mean, I feel like if they get to 8 wins right now in the AFC, 8 wins might get you that 7th wild card spot. Because if you look at teams above them that is currently in the 7th seed, it is a 6-8 Rams team. Sorry, 6-7 Rams team. It is a team with a losing record. Guys, we're going to talk about this later in the show, but I feel like 8 wins for the New York Giants can get them into the playoffs. So that is winning 3 of their next 4. And it is teams like the Rams. If they can go in there and beat the Rams on New Year's Eve, that is a playoff game. That is a game where the Giants can win, and they must win that game to have a playoff shot. I feel like they can probably beat the Eagles at least once. They play them twice in 3 weeks. They can beat the Eagles. They can get into those playoffs. And the Saints, who the frick are the Saints right now? We don't even know who the Saints are. They're so up and down, so freaking bipolar. So, Hoffy, I got to ask you this question right now. Give me a yes or no answer. Will the New York Football Giants make the playoffs?
No.
Oh man. And I'm with you. As all that hype I was just given to him, I don't think they can. 3-game winning streak is nice, but it was versus the Patriots. 3-game winning streak was nice, but they beat the Commanders 31-19. They're not going to go to New Orleans and beat the Saints. They're not going to beat the LA Rams. They might beat the Eagles once, but they're not going to do it twice. Giants fans, 3-game winning streak was fun.
Eagles twice, and that's not happening.
I think with 3 wins that they can get them into the playoffs as long as they beat the Rams. But I just don't see it happening. Don't see it happening. John
Who
agrees
do you think
with us.
has a better chance of making the playoffs? The Bears or the Giants? Both are at 5-8.
Ooh. Let me look at the Bears schedule. So, like I said, I think eight wins will probably get you into that 7th seed. If I can find the Chicago Bears, there it is. So the Bears play the Browns, Cardinals, Falcons, and Packers moving forward. So this is the good thing for the Bears and the Giants moving forward is that they do play teams that are within their division, right? Meaning the conference in the NFC. I do not think that the Bears can beat the Browns. I think the Browns are playing on a very elite level right now. That defense is killer at home. The Browns defense is one of the best defenses at home. On the road, they're 31st. That's crazy. They play the Cardinals team. The Cardinals play well against teams that they should get destroyed against, but this should be a good head-to-head game. I think they can beat the Cardinals. Falcons, kind of like the Saints. We don't know which team is going to show up, but it is at Soldier Field on New Year's Eve. I think they could possibly beat the Falcons. And so it would all come down to a game with the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. That game might get flexed to the very last game of the season, but I think the Packers win. So I would have more faith in the New York Giants than the Chicago Bears because there have already been rumors out there for the Chicago Bears that they are looking for a new head coach. They are looking to trade Justin Fields. They are looking to basically rebuild that franchise from the inside out. So why would a team want to play for a franchise like that? So
I think they still want to move on from Fields with the way he's been playing, with how that team has been playing as well.
We got that coming up here. We got that team. We Overreaction Tuesday. We got it coming up, Hoppy. So slow your roll there, big guy. Slow your roll.
We're easing into it. My fault.
No.
Trying to put it on the tee and tee it off for you.
Trying to
little premature, like usual. Sorry.
Yeah. John thinks Seattle or Minnesota wildcard game. I don't think the Vikings or the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs this season. If it is between one of those two teams, I would give it to Seattle because they have a better chance in the playoffs, but I don't think either of those teams make the playoffs. I think the Seattle season is over after Monday night when they get destroyed by the Philadelphia Eagles at home. That's going to be a total blow to the pride there, right? And then they play the Titans, Steelers, and Cardinals moving forward. It's not a very easy road for them, unfortunately. Seahawks are done. Vikings are they don't have a quarterback. They benched Jesus, right? They said, Jesus, let me crucify you. And he hasn't risen from the dead yet. So it is what it is. John also says the Browns are going to surprise their division. Joe Flacco's farewell tour. I think the Browns have already surprised their division, right? The Browns surprised their division by getting just one win after Deshaun Watson went down. Let's just be honest. But it is what it is. But Hoffy, you're looking pretty snazzy over there, man. How's life?
I can't complain. Although, what's today? December 12th. 15 days. I should be welcoming my new boy into the world. So I like I said, I can't complain. Life is good. I've already accepted the fact that my Patriots suck ass. I did live in San Francisco for, a good amount of my life. So my San Francisco 49ers are doing all right. I am a diehard Patriots fan, and the 49ers are my second team. I like to piss people off by jumping off the bandwagon, jumping on and off the bandwagon with the Dolphins. I think it was John Peebles throwing shots earlier. I don't know why he's saying we collectively, because I'm pretty sure you have not jumped off of your Cowboys or your Chiefs. That's so, but yeah, I can't complain. I am living the dream.
Yeah, so just to add to your aspect there, like I am a NFL fan, right? So my wife roots for the Packers. She was a Peyton Manning fan, so she was a Colts fan, and then she converted to a Broncos fan when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos as well. She was also a Von Miller fan, so she liked the Broncos, and then now she kind of roots for the Buffalo Bills as well. So we have our allegiances still. Like she still roots for the Packers every chance she can get. I root for the Chiefs every chance I get, but just because you have your set team, it doesn't mean you can't root for the Bengals, right? Because the Bengals are the local team here, or the Colts, or it doesn't mean I can't root for them. Like I lived here for 7 years in southern Indiana, and I very rarely got Chiefs games, so I got to see a lot of Baltimore Ravens games. Why the Ravens? Because Lamar Jackson went here and they want to sell seats, I guess. I don't know. So I got a chance to watch a lot of Ravens games. That's why I hate them so much, because I was like, damn, you're playing the Ravens versus the Miami Dolphins when you win. You could be playing the Chiefs versus the Raiders. But let me ask you this: do you guys got a name for your boy yet?
Yes. Calvin Joseph.
Is she doing a natural birth, or is she going to go get the old epidural and not have to suffer?
Oh, natural. That's the plan, but the baby is measured in the 99th percentile. I'm trying to make either a NBA center or an NFL tight end here.
Yeah,
so
make a business decision and retirement plan. I like it. I like it a lot. So my sister-in-law just had her first boy, her second child, and she had it in a bathtub.
I've had a friend that, yeah.
So she had it in a bathtub, and within 2 hours, they're like, get out of here. Like, what?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But it is Tuesday, Hoffy, December 12th, 2023, and here on Tuesday, guys, on the Man Hour, is we like to overreact to things that are happening across the NFL landscape. We have been waffling around. We've been talking about it. We've been doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But the first Overreaction Tuesday that I want to talk about are the Buffalo Bills. I want to talk about the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are a team right now that is clicking on a lot of good cylinders. They have that V8 tuned up, and it's about hitting 6.6 on the old quarter mile, right? They are looking damn good. Now, they do have an outside chance looking in of making the playoffs. They need some help, and they need to win out. But overreaction or underreaction, the Buffalo Bills are the most dangerous team in the AFC playoff field. Hoffy, going to kick it to you first.
I mean, right now they've kind of corrected their ship here. So I would say that I still have to go with the Ravens. They are, I think, still the most dangerous team. I know that they gave up 31 points. They, got lucky and snuck by on Sunday with a win. But I still got to say that it's Baltimore Ravens. But the Buffalo Bills are, I think, right now, the second scariest team in the AFC. They're a team that I don't want to see in the playoffs. So I would say that, no, right now it's the Ravens, but the Bills are right behind them.
So when we talk about most dangerous team, obviously the Buffalo Bills are a very, very dangerous team, Hoffy. They are dangerous to their opponents, and they're dangerous to themselves. When I say them dangerous to themselves, Josh Allen is a very, very dangerous to their team. Every time he starts to get behind just a little bit, he's like, oh, man, let me throw an interception in the red zone, right? But if you look at the AFC playoff picture, the playoff field, and let's say the Buffalo Bills do slide in there as a 7th seed, or spoiler alert, they might win the AFC East and get like a 3rd overall seed, 4th overall seed, right? The Buffalo Bills are a team that you don't want to play because they do have Josh Allen as a quarterback still. Josh Allen is one of the highest ceiling quarterbacks in the NFL. He also has one of the lowest floors in the NFL as well. So you can get an A+ game from Josh Allen, or you can get a D- game from Josh Allen. We don't know. That is what makes the Buffalo Bills so dangerous. But to say that they are the dangerous team in the AFC playoff picture, I'm going to say no. That is a overreaction because you do have a team like the Baltimore Ravens. You still have teams like the Miami Dolphins. But let's not forget about the best team in the NFL's team still. Let's not forget about the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL game. Let's not forget about the greatest tight end in the NFL game. And that is the one and only the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs have been there and done that.
Tom Brady retired.
Yes, they are struggling. Yes, they are going through some hiccups right now. But they're a battle-tested team. They've been there. They've done that. They know how to win, and the Kansas City Chiefs are the most dangerous team in the AFC playoffs. Hoffy, Kansas City Chiefs are them still. Still them.
They had a wide receiver that knew how to catch.
I actually started a GoFundMe, and I've raised about $1,000 to buy them gloves, so we should be good. I got a little bit of elephant jizz on it, and we're going to be catching some shit, man, right? We have referred to the replacements 3 times this show, and I just realized that. Like, we did a Shane Falco, we did the lotion thing, and now the elephant jizz thing, right? Like, man, I just look like I jacked off the elephant.
Yesterday, so we ought to start getting
a little royalty check,
reimbursement or something here.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump back into the chat here. John People says Final 4 in the AFC is going to be KC, Miami, Buffalo, and Baltimore. Probably not. Got a new face in there. Mike Decatur is in the chat, and he says, "How about the Broncos? What do you guys think, especially if they beat the Lions?" I think the Broncos are a team that maybe shot their load a little too early. I think the Broncos, yes, they do have a lot of weapons. Cortland Sutton is doing damn good things. They have won 6 of their last 7, but they do play the Detroit Lions. I believe it is Saturday night. They have a bye. No, they play the Saturday game versus the Detroit Lions, and then they play the Patriots, Chargers, and Raiders moving forward. I'm not so worried about the Detroit Lions game. I'm not worried about the Patriots game. I am worried about the 2 last games of the season when they will be officially battling for a playoff spot, right? Because right now they are sitting at 6-7, 7-6. So they're sitting at 7-6 right now. So say they beat the Detroit Lions, move to 8-6. Say they beat the New England Patriots and move to 9-6, right? I still think it's going to take 10 wins in the AFC to get into the playoffs. So they're going to be in must-win games versus the Chargers and versus the Raiders, 2 division foes that they don't want them to let in, right? They're going to be playing that spoiler alert, right? Chargers will have a backup quarterback. Raiders are just going to probably Raider. Maybe Sean Payton goes to Pierce and says, "Hey, do you want to tie and let us both in?" No, but I feel, Mike, if the Broncos do make it into the playoffs, right? Let's say they sneak in as 6th seed, right? They'll be playing the 3 seed of the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you legitimately think that the Broncos can go into Arrowhead and play the Kansas City Chiefs and beat them in a playoff game? I don't think so. I think the Broncos, if they make it, they would be a one and done. Any thoughts on that, Hoffy?
I mean, I think they can easily win the last 3 games. So let's say they win 3 out of 4. If they can get into the 5 spot and play a team like the Jaguars or whoever is going to win that AFC South, or maybe somehow Kansas City continues to falter, they go into the 4th spot. Denver, basically Denver has to play whoever wins the AFC South, I think, to get past that first round. But I do think that they will absolutely be in the playoffs. I do think they have a pretty favorable schedule. They should be favorites in 3 of those 4 games.
Yeah.
So if they can get 3 out of those 4, I think they're definitely in the playoffs. I think the only way, like I said, that they win their first round is if they go against XD Gamers Jaguars or Colts or whoever comes out of that AFC South.
Yeah, so you don't see them beating the Chiefs, the Ravens, or the who's the other leader? Miami.
They beat the
Dolphins.
Chiefs once already. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see anyone beating Miami right now with how they played last night, but I just don't see. They'd have to go down to Miami. I'm still not sold on Miami even winning the division.
Right.
I mean, I think with last night's game, it's really going to come down to. I mean, they both have some tough games left on their schedule. I think it's going to come down to Week 17, which we were all saying at the beginning of this year. Towards the middle of the season, we were like, "Whoa, Buffalo is falling apart. They're not even going to make the playoffs."
Right.
But now they're making some noise again. So I think it comes down to Week 17. Bills and Dolphins will decide the AFC East winner.
So wouldn't this be one of the greatest stories ever, right? Week 3, the Miami Dolphins beat the Denver Broncos 70 to 20. They get a rematch in the AFC Championship game, and the Denver Broncos beat them 70 to 20. Like, wouldn't that be like the most craziest turn of events ever?
Just beating them, period. Never mind if it's a championship. Never mind if it's same score 70 to 20. But yeah, just beating them, period, would be a feather in the cap for sure.
After getting 70 pieced and then coming back and beating them in the playoffs, that would be crazy.
I think if they get to decide who they play in the playoffs, that would be the team they would want to play in the playoffs, just as competitors, who wouldn't want to get that one back?
Oh yeah, that would be that would be so magical. Ant says the Broncos would be a first exit as well, and then John says that is very likely still chasing KC though. Listen, if the Kansas City Chiefs drop one more game, which they very well could, the way they are playing right now, the way the locker room is acting in Kansas City, they could very well lose to the Patriots. They could very well lose to the Raiders, Bengals, or Chargers. If they continue on their trend right now, they might go 2-4. 2-4 only gives them 10 wins. The Broncos win 3 of their last 4. That's 10 wins for them as well. Spoiler alert, the Broncos had the tiebreaker. I don't know. It is going to be exciting. Ant says, do not sleep on the Browns. They are dangerous too. Yes, I forgot about the Browns. The Browns are a very, very dangerous team as well. So it is what it is. And Mike said they did beat the Chiefs. They did beat the Chiefs on a Thursday night game at Mile High Stadium when the Chiefs played like 3 games in like 13 days. So I do not see the Broncos going into Arrowhead or even if the Chiefs go into Mile High Stadium, I don't see them beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. I just don't see it. On the next overreaction here, Javi, we are going to do a extra long show today just because we can. If you got to go, you got to go. I get it. But the NFC playoff picture is looking like we could potentially have multiple teams with losing records. Right now, we have an outside chance of that, like the Bears, Rams, and Giants can make the playoffs with a losing record. And obviously, I think the NFC South will have a losing record as well. And you got to let the division winner in. So it is a overreaction or a underreaction that we will have multiple teams with losing records in the AFC playoffs, Hoffy. What is that, an overreaction or underreaction?
No, I think whoever comes out of the NFC South is going to have a losing record. And right now we have the Green Bay Packers at the 7th spot with a losing record. So, and I think we've seen that the Vikings are not playing that well. So I think you could potentially see 3 teams with a losing record make the NFC playoffs.
So you think 3 losing teams will make the NFC playoffs, and we're going to have 10-win teams not making the AFC playoffs. If that was to happen, we're going to cause for a realignment talk again. But the playoffs in general is all about teams getting hot, right? And I do think we will have at least one. I mean, we will have at least one losing team in the playoffs, and that's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sticking to my guns. I think the Buccaneers are going to get it with the 8-9 record in the NFC South. However, those other two teams that you mentioned, the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers, yes, right now they are in the playoffs. As of right now, with the losing record. Spoiler alert, guys, the playoffs do not start till week 18 or week 19, actually, right? It's week 15. We still have 4 games left to play to decide if what teams make it into the playoffs. Now, it would not shock me one bit if a 8-9 Giants team make the playoffs. If the 8-9 Packers team make the playoffs, I will give you 2, but 3, that is a reach. I don't think that is going to happen, but I do not think it is an overreaction. I think, Hoffy, you nailed it. I think we are going to have the NFC South winner as a losing record into the playoffs, and I think the 7th seed might get into the playoffs as well with an 8-9 record as well. But if this were to happen, doesn't this kind of start to raise the talk again where, like, we shouldn't have conferences anymore? We should just let the 14 best teams in the playoffs. Do you think this conversation is going to rear its head again? And do you think the 14 best teams should just make the playoffs?
I think there'll be, I don't even want to call it noise. We'll call it white noise about that happening. I mean, the NBA has discussed that forever, as far as the West Conference has always been better than the East Conference as far as, you know, just talent wise, and they haven't done anything about it. And it's been an ongoing, it's been clear as day for 20 plus years now. I just think with having division games and how that all kind of plays out and everything like that, it's almost impossible to kind of go away from having conferences and stuff. But I would like to see it. I do think that's how it should be done, but I just don't see how it really can be done and make sense to the NFL.
Yeah, so I think if you were to do that, right, it is going to totally take away the division aspect. It's going to totally take away the conference aspect of it, and that would revert it back to a college game, right? Then that means the power rankings means something. That means that Wayne G's supercomputer means something. Right now, what is so great about the NFL is the parity in the NFL, right? Just because you are 7-9, it doesn't mean you can't go in there and beat the 10 and, you know, the 16-1 Philadelphia Eagles, right? It's just, we see it time after time again. And I think the NFL has it about right. I like the playoffs the way it is. I like the conferences. I like it shows you that every game means something, right? All those division games that you play means something. But if you were to go into like the best 14 teams play, right? Wouldn't strength of schedule have to play into it? So just because the New York Giants are 8-9, right? But they have the hardest schedule in the NFL, but their team 15, how is that justified, right? Like, hey, we have 9 losses because we played the Cowboys twice, we played the Eagles twice, we played the 49ers. You know, like those are the 3 best teams in the NFL. Like, give us some love, but it is what it is. Speaking of giving us some love, giving us some spub, the Chicago Bears. I was interacting on our man's BC Combs' Windy City Sports Talk last night, and they were talking about Justin Fields. They were talking about how Justin Fields basically needs to get out of town. We hate this guy. This guy is dragging us down. This guy is trash. So I got to ask the question. Is it an overreaction or underreaction? Hoffy, I'm going to kick it to you first. Is Justin Fields a starting quarterback in 2024 somewhere besides Chicago? Overreaction, underreaction?
No, I think, I mean, it's the Bears. They always fumble away everything. So, yeah, I think he'll be somewhere else So I don't think it's an overreaction to say that he will be somewhere else. However, I think if they were smart, they would find a better coach, an offensive-minded coach, and use their draft capital to build around Fields. Because, I mean, since he's come back from his injury, they've been playing pretty well. They're 5-8. I don't think anyone thought that they would have 5 wins this whole season with how, the season started. Never mind, being at the point right now where they're 5-8 with some games left. But I think that they should keep him and build around him, because if you move on from him, you're going to, draft another quarterback, and it's going to be the same Bears, which we're used to. So I think that's probably what they'll do. So I'm going to say it's not an overreaction to say that he will be somewhere else, but I do think that he should be on the Bears next year with a new coach.
So every time we hear Justin Fields' name, we get the Ohio State quarterback syndrome, right? Nobody from Ohio State can be a quarterback, right? They might be great in college, but they're trash in the NFL. And I think Justin Fields potentially could have a decent NFL career still. He has a lot of those intangibles, right? He has like the grit. He kind of has that the it factor, but he is just still a little rough around the edges, right? He is just like that newborn baby. It smells good, it looks good, but it shits his pants still, right? Is like figure yourself out. I can't afford these diapers, $100 a week. But Justin Fields is not Ryan Poole's guy. Justin Fields is not Matt Eberflus's guy. With that being said, Justin Fields is kind of like that redheaded stepchild, right? They're like, we love you, but if you mess up, see you later, alligator. And right now, Justin Fields is just not looking very good, right? Ryan Poole's hired Matt Eberflus, if I'm not mistaken. So therefore, Matt Eberflus kind of has a longer lease than Justin Fields. But we've heard it. I wrote an article about it. Eric Bieniemy is linked to the Chicago Bears head coaching job right now. They also want Jim Harbaugh from Michigan. Basically, it sounds like Matt Eberflus is out of Chicago. Win, lose, or draw, Matt Eberflus is out 100%. I think one of those two players are going to be gone. Matt Eberflus, the head coach, will be gone, or Justin Fields will be gone. Now, when you look at it, what is more intangible in the NFL? That is coaching, right? Coaching is very intangible, meaning like it is a lot easier to move on from a coach. It is a lot easier to kick him to the curb. It's a lot harder to find a franchise quarterback. If the Chicago Bears bring in a coach like Eric Bieniemy, I'm not for sure if he would want to move on from Fields. I think Fields would get another season. So I think it is an overreaction that people think that Justin Fields will be leaving Chicago. Unless somebody like the Atlanta Falcons come calling again, right? Justin Fields is from the Georgia area. Earlier this offseason, the Falcons were calling the Bears about possibly getting Justin Fields. If they throw out 2 first-round picks or a first-round pick or something for Justin Fields, I could see it. But right now, I do not see it. I saw somewhere up here says John says Detroit would trade for Goff for Fields. No, they wouldn't. They got Hendon Hooker.
Those teams aren't going to bed together.
Yeah, they got Hendon Hooker. He's not going anywhere.
I like the Seattle. I think
where's that say?
Fields in Seattle with Pete Carroll would
David,
be a
says that Fields in Seattle would be awesome.
And I could also see him, to Pittsburgh. That's another one that, we could have a Cordell Stewart 2.0, although he is better than him, but,
what is a proper trade value for Justin Fields? Is it a first-round pick? Is it 2 second-round picks? Is it my quarterback for your quarterback? What is a proper thing? Like,
I don't think you can. I mean, I don't think you'll get a first round pick for Fields. So I guess it would depend on who it is. I mean, someone like Pittsburgh, I could see it being possibly 2 seconds. I could see Seattle being 2 seconds. If it was someone, obviously the Chiefs aren't moving on from Mahomes, but if it's a team that's up there in that upper first round, I could see it, for a 29th overall pick or 28th, something like that. But those teams that are going to be in that spot already have a quarterback. So I think it's going to have to be, at best, I think they'll get a second round pick, because I don't think any of the teams in the top 15, let's just say the Patriots, for instance, or a team like the Giants, if they're in there, I don't think they're going to be giving up a top 15 pick for Justin Fields.
Yeah, maybe it's their pick plus Justin Fields and a second round pick. But this is the thing about Seattle. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Geno Smith just sign like a 3-year, 4-year deal with Seattle Seahawks this last season after his MVP caliber season last season? They signed him to an extension. I thought they did. So I'm sure there'd be some type of dead cap hit and like all that crap. I don't know how any of that works, but I feel like Seattle and Geno are married for the next 3 or 4 years at least. Am I barking up the right tree there?
I believe he signed a 3-year, $105 million, $52 million guaranteed.
Yeah, so he's guaranteed through 2026 or something, or 2025, right? And then this next one, Fields to Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett is on his second year, right? Was Kenny Pickett a first round pick, Coffee? I think he was. Yeah. So he has 5 years with the Pittsburgh
quarterback
Steelers
taken in his draft.
Yeah, so he has at least 3 years left with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers fired their offensive coordinator in Matt Canada 4 weeks ago. And then 2 games later, it was the first game over 400 yards in 54 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Granted, they've looked pretty bad since, and Kenny Pickett is out for the rest of the season with a broken wrist or something like that. He had wrist surgery. But I don't think you move on from Kenny Pickett yet if you are a Pittsburgh Steelers. You let him run his course. You give him at least a full year, if not 2 years, under a new offensive coordinator. So Fields to Pittsburgh doesn't, to me, make sense either. Like, Seattle and Pittsburgh would be great, but it on the books, it doesn't make sense. So the Atlanta Falcons doesn't really make sense either, because Desmond Ridder this is his second year too, so he still has 3 years left in the Falcons.
But he was what, second or third round pick, so the cap on him isn't
right.
Is it significant like it would be with either Geno Smith or Pickett, who, Geno Smith signed a new deal and Pickett's a first round pick, so
right. So really, logically speaking, you would have to think of a team that has an aging quarterback, a team that doesn't have their quarterback of the future. And the only team I can think of off the top of my head right now is the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm not for sure you trade a potential franchise quarterback to a division rival.
New York Jets?
Jets, maybe. But we saying Zach, he is improving each and every week. I don't know. Ant says Fields to the Saints, possibly. Didn't Derek Carr sign a 3-year deal with them? He has over a $60 million dead cap hit for the Saints as well. So maybe a trade. I don't know. I'm not for sure. But Jameson, what's up? Jameson says teams need to stop hiring defensive coordinators as head coaches. Offensive-minded coaches should reign supreme. I agree with you to an extent. Me as a defensive-minded coach, I've been a defensive coordinator for 7 years here at our high school, right? Sorry, the last 6 seasons. I was recently hired as a head coach, right? So I am bringing my knowledge of the defense to the offensive side of the ball. I know what messes with defenses' heads. I know that when I send 3 guys in motion, totally flip the field on them, it's going to make my defense be like, what's going on? Like, the issue is putting proper people in place. Now, I may not know everything about offense, but I know what messes with the defensive like heads. That's why I will have an offensive coordinator that puts in the scheme, that puts in the plays. But like I can say, hey, I want this, and this, and this, because I know that this will mess up. It takes a special person to be a head coach. It takes a leader of men to be a head coach, and a person that can admit that they need help. Right now, that's just the way it is. So I don't think if it's a defensive coordinator or a linebackers coach or a special teams coach, I don't think it matters. It is just the respect of the individual there. So,
Buck, who has the greatest NFL dynasty?
The greatest NFL dynasty? Probably the 49ers, honestly.
All right.
Why?
Let's move on to the next team.
The next team?
If it's not the 49ers and it's not the Cowboys.
Are you saying the Steelers?
No. Well, sure. We could talk about the Steelers. They've had defensive-minded coaches, but I'm referring to, that team up in New England.
Oh, the Jets?
The Jets are not in New England. I'm referring to Bill Belichick, defensive-minded. Mike Tomlin, defensive-minded. I mean, DeMeco Ryans right now with the Texans, defensive-minded. So like you said, I think it's just a matter of knowing what their capabilities are and putting the right people in place to handle those things. So I do think that an offensive-minded has the leg up per se, but I think it really comes down to if you can hire Robert Saleh. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think that they need to kind of get that quarterback position solidified, and I don't think that's on him. But I think he's a pretty good coach too.
So let's talk about Robert Saleh. I think Robert Saleh was forced into his position this season. The owner forced Aaron Rodgers on him, and in that realm there, when you force Aaron Rodgers on you, you force Aaron Rodgers' wish list. Even though he didn't have a wish list, it was weird that Alan Lazard was signed. It was weird that Cook was signed. It was weird that some other Packers were like signed. Yeah, like it was just it seemed very, very weird. So I feel like Robert Saleh's kind of getting a pass this season and maybe next season because I don't know the owner's name, but I feel like he forced his hand on Robert Saleh, saying, "I want Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to deal with it one way or the other." So David says, "Facts. You can be a defensive head coach, just like you said, Buck. Just hire a good offensive coordinator." And then Junis thinks Fields to Washington. You don't love you any Sam Howell, Junis? I thought Sam Howell was going to be the future. Speaking of future, Hoffy, Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season as a head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, this season right now, they're sitting at 7-6, and they do play 4 games less this season versus the Colts, Bengals, Seahawks, and Ravens. Hoffy, is it an overreaction or underreaction that Mike Tomlin will have his first losing season as a Pittsburgh Steelers head coach?
I don't think it's an overreaction. I mean, they have the Colts, a bipolar team. We don't know if they're going to get the Colts that won, what was it, 10-6 versus the Patriots. If you're going to get a Colts team that can, Gardner Minshew is going to play out of his ass, and we'll see.
Right.
You have the Bengals. The Bengals are clicking right now with their backup quarterback. He's been playing pretty well. They go against the Seahawks, which will at that point probably still be, fighting for a wild card spot. And then you have the Ravens, provided that the Ravens might have something locked up there. They might, not start their starters. But they're one game above 500 right now. I could see them losing 3 of their next 4, especially not having, Mitch Trubisky we'll see. He played decent against the Patriots, but I would not be surprised, and I would not overreact to the fact that this probably will be a losing season for the the Steelers. But if Mike Tomlin can once again get away with another winning season, I think this would probably be one of his most impressive seasons, because the last year was another one where they started off pretty bad and they kind of saved it, and they said, hey, look, that was one of his better seasons. This year, losing Kenny Pickett, their starter, and importing Mitch Trubisky, and still coming out with a winning season when they've had a pretty tough schedule. Just being in the AFC North, they've had to play teams like the Packers. They've played teams like the Jaguars. The Texans have been pretty good this year. So they've had a pretty tough schedule this year. So, but I do think that he will end up with his first losing season.
Yeah, so we kind of thought that last year, right? And then I think they went 8-1, right? Like somehow they pulled out a tie. They're like, oh, we didn't have a losing season, but we didn't have a winning season ever. And I was just looking at their schedule, right? They've had a lot of home games so far this season. They do play the last 3 of the last 4 on the road, at Indianapolis, at Seattle, at Baltimore. So far this season on the road, the Steelers are a 500 team. So if they continue that trend and they are a 500 team on the road, that will probably give them 9 wins this season. If they split the last 2 of the 4, that gives them 9 wins on the season. They can beat the Colts. They can beat the Seahawks. Hell, they can even beat the Ravens. I think they did it earlier this season. Yeah, they beat them week 5 versus the Ravens, right? They can win these games. Will they? To be determined. But if Mike Tomlin does have a losing season, it is going to be an overreaction. People are going to lose their minds about this, right? He's never had a losing season. I've heard reports and I've read stuff where he is, quote, losing the locker room. It is like playing for a dictator now. Hoffy, what is the one thing that we've heard about Mike Tomlin over and over and over again, that he is like a player's coach, right? People love playing for the guy. And like now it's like playing for a dictatorship. Like, I think if Mike Tomlin does have a losing season and the Patriots miss the playoffs, we might be seeing the 4th head coach in Pittsburgh Steelers history. Like, Mike Tomlin might maybe not get fired, maybe not be asked to resign, but I could see him saying like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to take a year off, and then I'm going to become a offensive specialist for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like it would not surprise me if he has a losing season this season one bit and he is out of town. I don't know. John says,
I've heard
go ahead.
The losing the locker room. I think it really comes down to Pickens. I mean, that kid's attitude is absolute crap. I mean, so there is some attitude adjustments that need to be taken care of, but they're pretty. I mean, him, Pickett, they're young. They still have some growing up to do, I think. Najee Harris. I mean, they still have some pieces around them. I think it's just a matter of them kind of coming together and maturing and kind of realizing like, hey, it's not about me, it's about us. But to me, Mike Tomlin is Pittsburgh. When I think of Pittsburgh, or the embodiment of Pittsburgh, I think of Mike Tomlin. Just the players coach, but at the same time, just a big mean. Just we're gonna get after you, whether it's pretty or not. All we're here to do is win, and to me, that's a Mike Tomlin, kind of situation. So. I think that regardless of what happens, he'll still be back next year.
Yeah, only time will tell. John says Pittsburgh needs a franchise quarterback. They do not have one. He is the weakest link. Goodbye. Do you really think Kenny Pickett is the weakest link of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Hoffy?
I've been saying it since he was drafted. I don't think he's that guy. I think anybody, provided Peyton Manning would wear a glove if it was freezing cold, whatever. We'll let that slide. But anyone that's wearing a glove in September, if you wear a glove all 17 weeks of the season, you do not belong playing quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater does. 2 gloves, actually.
Yeah, and what's he done?
Win a couple games with the Vikings, Broncos, Seahawks, Saints.
He's not a
Buccaneers.
franchise quarterback. Any franchise quarterback. Name me a franchise quarterback that wears a glove religiously.
Didn't Tom Brady wear a glove his last 5 seasons or last 5 years in the league?
No, he would in December when it was, negative 16 degrees.
Oh, is he cold?
Peyton Manning wore one in frickin' 45-degree weather. I understand wearing it here and there, but to say that you're a better quarterback with a glove than without, I mean,
he just has small hands. That's what it comes down to.
I got small hands. I still won't use a glove.
Well, because you're throwing peewee balls. Anyways,
no, they're juniors.
Juna says head coach Tomlin is under pressure to get the wins with the lack of QB talent. True. John says Patrick Mahomes wears gloves. No, he doesn't.
What is John Peebles on today? I've seen some comments from him that just...
John and Jim must be hanging out. All right. Let's get to the end of the show here, guys. Wrap it up. We have some stock up and some stock down. Houston Texans, their stock is down. CJ Stroud is in concussion protocol, and they got beat down by the Jets 30-6 on Sunday. Hoffy,
have to think of germs.
Do the Houston Texans miss the playoffs?
Yes. I mean, CJ Stroud is even going to play this week with his concussion?
Probably not, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Stock up, stock down. My man Zach Wilson comes back from the practice squad, back to starter, goes 21 for 36, 301 passing yards, 2 touchdowns with the win over the Houston Texans. He is him. His stock is up. Hoffy, is Zach Wilson the starting quarterback for the New York Football Jets next season?
No. Aaron Rodgers.
All righty. Stock up, stock down. Kansas City Chiefs, stock down. They have now lost 3 of their last 4 games. Hoffy, are the Kansas City Chiefs a wild card team?
No. And the Kansas City Chiefs are the Patriots a la their last Super Bowl when they went in and lost to the Bengals. And I think it was Trent Dilfer that said they're not good anymore. And then they came back and won the Super Bowl. So watch out.
All right, stock up, stock down for the Philadelphia Eagles. They gotten beat down back-to-back weeks by the 49ers and the Cowboys. Are they no longer Super Bowl favorites?
Overrated. Said it all year.
Overrated. It is and it is. Is this thing on? Yes, Jim, this thing is on. But Hoffy's going to sit it out. Sit it out, big guy.
Man, our nation, rise up.